or seen somebody killed right in front of you. I mean, I was in London with a man, and he took me to see this slideshow because he wanted to do some slideshows on Islam, and he wanted to show me the potential of what they call multi-image media. And there was a slideshow in London on the history of London. They had a lot of different slides coming in at once. It was very powerful, Waham, to watch. But we went in, we watched, I think it was an hour or something like that. And we came out. Whenever you go in and see like movies or cinema, it's such an artificial thing because it's magic and you've been bewitched for 2 hours or something. You come out and you have to get used to coming back into reality. And we just come out. And I was standing on the corner, and I saw this young man. And the interesting thing about it is I literally noticed the man because he was very striking. He was a striking young man. He was probably like about 24, 25, dressed very well. He had a suit and a tie on. And he was a striking person. And I just looked at him. So I saw this man step onto the curb, and suddenly this taxi tried to cut in front of another car, and knocked him down right in front of me. And he fell back, and it was almost like slow motion. He fell back and hit his head on the sidewalk. And he started shaking. And it was like watching a sheep whenever you kill a sheep, and they go into that shaking. He went into that shaking. And then literally, you could feel the ruah being taken from him. He went... The Christians call that giving up the ghost. And that's what happened. And that happened right in front of me. And everybody was looking at him. I mean, this man in the prime of his youth. And he had just died. And I looked over at the taxi driver, and he was like this on his wheel. He just had his head on the... Because now he's in a state. He has to live with this. Because all he was trying to do was cut in front of somebody, save a few seconds. And he took a man's life. But the point is that at that moment, I almost passed out. Literally. I almost physically passed out because it was so powerful. And we couldn't do anything. There was nothing you could do. He was dead. And somebody covered him with a coat. Took his coat off and covered him. And they went and called. And I just went and I sat down. And we were just... Because that was haq. I mean, we came from waham to reality. That is real. What just happened was reality. That was real. There was nothing false about what just happened. That was real. And then when I worked in a hospital, I saw a lot of people die. I mean, I saw people die. And some people, they died. It was horrible to watch them die because... They didn't want to die. I literally watched a woman, she died of respiratory failure because she'd gotten lung cancer, and she died cursing the tobacco companies and singing tobacco jingles from the 1930s and 40s. She would sing the jingle. It was like Chesterfield or something. And then she would say, "Those liars, those damn liars." So death is a powerful thing. And you can actually experience death in yourself. You can actually experience it. If you do meditation of death, you can actually experience your mortality. And in doing that, it causes you to really assess your life and where you're at and what you're going to do. Because most people are wasting their lives, and then they have nadama. You just have remorse and regret. Because once you die, you can't come back. And the only thing you want to come back to do is right actions. You don't want to come back. Nobody says on their deathbed, "I wish I watched more Gilligan's Island," or "I wish I..." They don't say that. "I wish I watched more movies. Oh, I didn't get to see that Oscar-winning film, that great film with Katharine Hepburn. I missed that." They don't think that. Nobody thinks that. "Oh, I wish I spent more time at the office." I guarantee you, nobody's ever said that on their deathbeds. What they say is, I wish I would have gone to the masjid more. I wish I would have learned more Quran. I wish I would have done more charity work. I wish I would have helped more people. I wish I would have had better manners. I mean, I visited a man on his deathbed at Stanford University, dying of cancer. He was almost dead. And he used to come to my khutbah at this mosque. And he told me that he always hoped that he would be able to spend time with me. And here he was dying, and I came to visit him. He didn't know, I didn't know him. And he knew me just from the khutbah. Driving there, one of the people told me that he said this man was the most argumentative person he ever met. That's what he said about him. He said this man was the most argumentative person he ever met in his life. He argued with everybody. And when I went to see him and visit him, he was so sweet. And this thing he said to me, he said, you know, the only thing I regret about my life is all the arguments I had. And he said, I wish I could go to every single person and ask their forgiveness. That's what he told me. He said that's the only thing he really regretted, that he used to argue with people. And he realized it's all nuts. It's just a waste of time. All these things. You're dealing with psychology. And when you're looking at infinity, all these things, all your fights in your mosque about who should be president and who should be... all this stuff, it's just suddenly, it's all just wahm. These are archetypal personalities that are manifesting their pathology on the arena of life. That's all it is. It's not really about truth. It's not about I'm right, you're wrong. Right? That's what it's really about. It's not about I want the truth to show up. No, I want to prove my point. And that's the beauty of doing this type of meditation, is you start realizing the futility of that route. جزا الله عنا سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم ما هو أهله. جزا الله عنا سيدنا محمدا صلى الله عليه وسلم ما هو أهله. جزا الله عنا سيدنا محمدا صلى الله عليه وسلم ما هو أهله. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله.